Welcome back to the third episode of the Sports Syllabus Show. I'm your host, John Shikoda, and I'm joined by
Luke Young.
And on today's syllabus, we'll be talking about the NBA, the recent trade news with Karl-Anthony Towns, the new faces and new places for the Mavericks, Pelicans, Sixers, Bulls, and Kings. And then we'll also be talking about the NFL. Are the Seahawks legit? Are the Jaguars, is their season done? Are the Vikings winning the NFC? And are the Bills good, or were the Ravens just that good? So we'll talk about football first. Luke, I want to talk about the Ravens game.
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Do you think the Bills are still good, or do you think the Ravens are that good?
I still do think the Bills are good. I mean, you can't overreact to one game, obviously. But I do think the Ravens are better. They're definitely bigger. They're faster. Mm-hmm. I mean, their run game is the best in the league. That's not even a question. I mean, their quarterback can run for 45 yards at any time, and they have probably the best running back in the league right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the Bills are still definitely good. It was just a case of Derrick Henry had a great game, and he was just running all over the place. And the Ravens did a nice job not blowing this lead this time, too. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, Derrick Henry looks like he's, like, back into before he got that injury. I think he's back. Just not like, yes, he wasn't playing two great run defense teams.
Yeah, the Bills' defense has been hurt by injury pretty bad.
And the same with the Cowboys. Like, they're not a great run, but just, like, how, like, dominant he was. It's not the fact that he ran for almost 200 in both games. It's the fact that how easy and how dominant he was when doing it.
Yeah, well, he the first play of their game, he got an 87-yard touchdown.
Exactly. Like, and they were comparing him. I was watching the game on the broadcast to Earl Campbell, how they both run. They're both powerful backs, and they run straight up, and they just run right through somebody. Like,
yeah.
I think he is back, and I think the question was when signing him is he going to be able to either adjust, or are the Ravens going to adjust to his play style? And it looks like they've fully adjusted to his play style, because he's that, need to be an I formation type of guy where he needs a running start. He can't be the guy who's standing, like, he needs a running start. And the thing with the Ravens is they did a lot of play action stuff. They were wondering how he was going to, and right now it's all Derrick Henry. And if you're a defense, they were talking about this on the broadcast as well. What are you going to do in a read option situation, or a situation where he's in I formation, fakes a handoff, and then Lamar can what are you doing? Because you pick your poison. You got Lamar running, or you got Henry running. And then Lamar, yes, he's not an insane, but he's a good passer. So it's like it's a three-headed monster. You're going to get beat some way or another. And right now they're just running through everyone.
Yeah, I feel like for defenses, I mean, I'm not like a football defensive expert. Obviously, I don't pride myself on that. I just think that, I don't know, I'd rather tackle, if I'm a defensive player, I'd rather tackle Lamar than Henry, to be honest.
Exactly.
But the problem is Lamar would just,
so hard
shoot the crap out of you, and, he's so shifty. I don't know, I feel like if you're playing the Ravens, you always have to have somebody, a linebacker, spying on Lamar. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he's just going to burn you if nobody, sees him, take those reads away. And I do think that they had to force him to pass somehow. Because they really only have one receiver plus Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews isn't what he used to be. And Zay Flowers, just if he's not open, who are they throwing to?
Exactly, Rashad Bateman. No, they're not. They're not gonna. I mean, he will, but it's not like they're gonna. Those guys don't scare you. Like, Zay Flowers scares you because he's fast and he's agile. But if you can shut him out of the game, which a lot of teams have this year, I should know because I have him on fantasy. Then you got to focus on that run game, and they were trying to do that and they couldn't, because you focus on Henry, then they bring in Justice Hill, and he gets 10-20 yard reception.
Yeah, he had 6 catches for 78 yards yesterday, and Flowers only had 1 catch for 10 yards. So defenses, you can definitely tell, are leaning towards Flowers, and I think that the Ravens like when they do that, because then they can run the ball. I mean,
exactly.
It's all about it's such a tough offense. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's tough to figure out.
It's hard to game plan against, I think.
Yeah.
Because you can be ready for Henry, and then they bring in Hill, who can do he's a great complement of Henry, because he does what Henry can't do as good with the passing game, and he's so fast. I didn't realize how fast he was until I was watching that game, and. Yeah, I think just the Ravens are just that that good. Like, I think they're just that legit.
Yeah, I do think they have the best offense in the league.
I
a little one-dimensional in the passing game, but I think the rushing game is so effective that it'll definitely carry over into the cold weather months.
Mm-hmm.
Because all they have to do is hand it off.
Exactly, because that's what you're a quarterback. You don't want to throw the ball in negative temperatures. Like we can kind of transition now to. Do you want to talk Vikings or Seahawks game first?
Oh, we can do Vikings because I'm a Packers fan, so I watched most of that game.
Yeah. Sam Darnold's back.
Was he ever there beforehand? I don't know. This counts as back. I think he's finally here.
He leads the league in passing touchdowns with 11, and the next closest guy has 8. So just he's throwing so many per game, and he's doing it. Yes, he has the best receiver in football and a great core around him, but you still have to be able to throw good balls and stuff. And he's been accurate. And 3 interceptions, I think, is how many he's thrown?
Yeah, he threw one today, or on Sunday.
Yeah. So he's being smart, too. And, we're not both Bears fans, but we're both fans of teams in the NFC North. I don't know about you, but I didn't expect them to. I thought they were going to be one of the worst teams.
Yeah, when McCarthy got hurt, I thought it was over. I thought they were just going to win like 3 games.
Yeah, they're
definitely the biggest surprise team. Honestly, Darnold was great in that game, especially in that first half. Mm-hmm. Just dotting passes up everywhere, figured out that Packers defense really easily.
Yeah.
He's got Jefferson, but also one of the best second receivers, like best complement receivers. Addison's great, and Jefferson will always be there for him. It doesn't matter. I swear defenses try and cover him, and he's just open constantly. Just 8 catches or 6 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's just an excellent game. While Addison had 3 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. So Darnold was throwing the ball all over the place.
Exactly. Like, usually, and this is not saying anything about Kirk Cousins, but when Kirk Cousins was there, Jefferson would get 10, 11 catches a game. Darnold is throwing at him, like you said, in that game, 3 catches, and they're winning the games. Like, it's showing that not only
6. Jefferson had 6.
Oh,
Addison
6.
had
Sorry, 3. Yeah, my bad. But what I'm saying is he's spreading the ball around a lot more, showing how good the team around him is. Like, when they is Hockenson back or is he hurt?
Hockenson is still hurt.
Yeah, when he gets back, like that, they're just gonna be better. And it's scary because just how I feel like they've made every game easy. Like that 49ers game was a little scary, but they won. I don't know. They have a relative. I mean, the division's those are gonna be some hard. Like, I think the NFC North is a pretty good division.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. I don't think they're gonna go undefeated this year, but
no, I don't think undefeated is at all possible because I feel like they're gonna lose to the Lions or the Packers.
I agree.
Jordan Love almost beat this Vikings team.
And I think I was about to say I think they rushed him back a little too fast.
Yeah, definitely in that first half, he definitely looked like he was not ready to play whatsoever. Yes. So he threw 3 picks, but he had 4 touchdowns.
Exactly.
The 3 picks were not good whatsoever. They were all pretty stuff that he doesn't do very often, at least last year. I think now that he'll have another week to get ready. Now he kind of knows what the game speed and what he has to do to help that knee. I think the Packers will be okay. They're 2-2, but we started out 3-6 last year and we made the playoffs and had 9 wins. So I think it's definitely in the cards for us to still be really good. I just don't think winning the NFC or North is anywhere close. So we have to have a pretty good record for us to make the wild card. Also for the Vikings, Aaron Jones, stolen from the Packers. Not really stolen, but Packers didn't want to pay him. He's been excellent for them this year.
Yeah, that was a great addition. I don't know. I was going to say he's kind of a better version of Dalvin Cook, like prime Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. No, I think Dalvin Cook in his prime was better because
that's what I was going to say.
Dalvin Cook was going to be the first pick in fantasy. Aaron Jones was never at that level.
Exactly. And I don't know. I just think Jones is a great because he's a receiving back. He just fits the scheme and everything they're trying to do in Minnesota amazing. And back to Darnold, I think Kyle Shanahan is the reason that
you don't think O'Connell deserves any credit for what he's doing?
I do think O'Connell does, obviously, but I think the reason why is I think Shanahan did something.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but he's just been a quarterback whisperer, I feel like.
I don't know if it was Shanahan exactly, but I don't know. I feel like sitting behind someone and watching. Okay, think about when you get a job, right? like just normal people getting a job. Doesn't have to be these high-profile athletes, right? What do you do when you first get a job? You sit behind somebody who already has a job and you learn what they do. For some reason, when these athletes get drafted, they're like, in their professional job, they're like, okay, now you have to go figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you have some experience, but that was experience against college players
who
and other things
some
like
of them
that.
are just normal guys.
Exactly.
Like, they'll just be normal guys.
Exactly. And I just wish that Darnold, especially, because clearly he has the talent and the physical ability to just give him like a year or like half a year just to sit behind somebody, learn the ways. And we see that with the Patriots right now and Drake May. But it's weird because you say that, and then somebody like Jaden Daniels is just absolutely just cooking people up.
He leads the league in completion percentage with 82%.
It's just interesting that there's two sides of the coin, obviously. I don't know. I feel like still patience is the number one thing. But I don't know. It's been great for Darnold. Obviously, as a Packers fan, it's not great that they're this good, but I still think that we can get there.
Like, I'm a Bears fan, too. I just like seeing, resurrections of careers. So even though, I don't like the Vikings, I don't want them to do better, I'm happy that Darnold's doing good because it makes the games more interesting, I feel like. Like when Brock Purdy was in and everyone was watching because you're like, is this 7th round, this last pick in the draft, is he going to be, good? Is he going to be any, it makes the games, I feel like, more interesting, which, like from a viewer perspective is what you want. You want to go to games that are interesting and entertaining to watch.
Yeah, another point from that game, Jaden Reed, another stellar game from him. 7 catches for 139 yards with 1 touchdown. He has definitely been done a good job while Christian Watson's out. I mean, Christian Watson got hurt during this game, but Watson, I think, coming into the year was supposed to be the wide receiver 1. Jaden Reed's kind of just grabbed that out of the air.
I totally agree.
He's definitely the best receiver on the team, played at Michigan State, really good guy. But we also have like 4 other receivers that need the ball. It's like absurd how deep our wide receiver core is.
People don't talk about it. I feel like the Packers, their wide receiver room, I felt like is, or at least going into this year, not many people like realized how kind of deep they are.
Yeah, it was interesting how everyone was focusing on the Texans wide receiver, mainly because they had the names.
Yeah, but like this year, I feel like it's just really been Nico Collins and Diggs, but like Diggs has just been getting touchdowns. I feel like Nico Collins has had those kind of games.
Yeah, Nico Collins is definitely one of the best receivers in the league right now. Definitely having the best year outside of Jefferson, in my opinion. He's had over 100 receiving yards in every game, I think.
I think I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, but Nico Collins leads. Like, I'm not saying Jefferson isn't doing good. I'm just saying Nico Collins leads the league in receiving yards with.
I still think Jefferson's the best. I don't even think that's a debate.
I do think Jefferson is the best. I'm just saying that people might say just because of the stats, but
no, I just say Collins is having the best year. I think Jefferson's still the best.
Okay. That makes sense. I was just confused.
Yeah.
Okay,
no, it's all right. Yeah, Collins definitely having a great year. But even through all these losses, even the Packers receivers have been doing good. They did good in Brazil. And with Willis, they weren't given the freedom to like run deep down the field. And this game, they definitely were, because when you lose by that much, you just start slinging the ball. And that's how we almost came back and won, actually. So
if they came back from that, I would have been.
Yeah, they scored 22 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I know. I wish. I actually went to the Bears game, so we can kind of talk about that. And.
Yeah, what'd you see from inside the stadium? How was it? I was going to ask you that. How was it?
The stadium is a piece of garbage.
Yeah, give me a rundown of what it's like to be at a game. Let's hear it.
So we got there 9. There was a pregame thing. The gates opened at 10. We got in there. We went to wait for autographs. We got like right next to the field. And just that, like, you could feel the excitement for people. Like we were pulling up at like 9 o'clock into the parking lot, and there were people already tailgating and stuff. And just it made me happy to see like how much pride. Like, I feel like have you ever been to a Packers game?
Yeah.
Like, just seeing how much pride people have for it makes you happy. So that was fun. Just the atmosphere alone when they scored, just the boos, like when the Rams came out, and just that, like, the game was so it was fun, but just the atmosphere made it so much. It felt like a playoff game almost.
Yeah.
And that's like, just because it's a sellout crowd, because all the games are usually, and they're just that was a must win. I feel like if the Bears lose that, I think their season isn't over, but if they want a shot at making the playoffs, I felt like they needed to win that, because then you're starting 1-3, and this first part of the schedule is supposed to be your easier part of the schedule, and you're losing to and the Rams are not a bad team, but still, I feel like they shouldn't have ended that 1-3. So a win was good, and I feel like you kind of started to see how like Caleb Williams has become better and better over every week. Yes, he didn't throw for 400 whatever yards, but he's becoming accurate and smarter with the ball.
No picks today.
Yeah,
on Sunday.
Did you see that ball that he threw to DJ Moore, that touchdown?
Yeah,
that was a beautiful ball. And then before the Swift touchdown, he threw a beautiful ball to Kmet. He anticipated him jumping and diving for it, and put it right in So it was very how do I not exciting, and hope, gave me hope.
Yeah,
because you saw him sort of become, and they finally had a freaking rushing attack, so that helped. Maybe the media slamming Waldron and harassing that dude.
Yeah.
Gave him the idea, to give the ball to Swift more and use him as a pass catcher, which is what he is. He's a runner, yes, but he's a good pass catching back, and you use him as that. Not only is it good for Caleb, he gains confidence because he's getting more yards, getting more completions, but it's also good for Swift and the team. So
yeah,
I loved it. It was so much fun.
Yeah, the Rams definitely injuries that were apparent. Tutu Atwell is Matthew Stafford's number one receiver, and it's just not. Well, it was Ronnie Rivers today.
Yeah.
It was Atwell. It was Tutu Atwell. Ronnie Rivers running back, sorry. Tutu Atwell was their number one receiver, and that's just not good enough in 2024 for you to be a successful team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Stafford's still great, 224 yards, no touchdowns today, but he's still, I think, a really good receiver
and he had
quarterback.
Yeah, and then Stafford had an interception. That was like a garbage time. Like, they're throwing it. It was their last drive. Like, they're throwing it. So, yeah. And then he had a big Montez Sweat got a big strip sack fumble that led to a touchdown. So I think that this has always been the story with the Bears is their defense. Like, their defense is the reason that they were in that game. Their defense, because you win the field position, you win the turnover game, you're going to have a shot to. You should always have a shot to win the game, and that's what they did. And they won. But
yeah, the Rams had more total yards than the Bears. So interesting that. It was definitely the Bears defense that put them over the edge.
Exactly, because you get that they do the strip sack and they're already in the Rams red zone. So what? You need to travel less than 20 yards, and then the interception was. They need it right after. Also, MVP of that game, Torrey Taylor. That dude pinned them inside their 10 at least, I think, 4 times, and he had 5 points. There's a reason that game proved to me why you drafted that guy in the 4th round.
Yeah,
he was the reason, because the Bears won the field position game.
Yeah.
The Rams are starting the ball inside the red zone, inside their 10. You're not gonna. It's just such a long, painful thing to do, and you're away, so you don't have the fans. You have all these other insane people yelling at you.
Yeah.
So Torrey Taylor was I think one of the key reasons we won that game. He showed why he was drafted and not just a signed free agent.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. Finally got to kind of show off what he was meant for today. I saw a few clips of it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get to watch that game because it's so hard to watch games now.
It is. It is. You got to watch either. You got to have red zone. You got to have red zone on and the game, or you just kind of look on your phone.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Because there's so many games at 12. I feel like 3 they're easier to watch, but the noon games, those are the hardest ones because there's so much.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about the Seahawks. They were 3-0 going into the week. They lost to the Lions, but do you think that they're still do you think that 3-0 record was a fluke?
Yeah, I do. If you think about who they played, it's definitely not a valid record in my opinion. Still winning games in the National Football League is still really tough to do, but I just don't think that their wins were very legit. Who do they play? They played the Dolphins, Patriots, and the Broncos. All teams that are gonna have losing records this year.
Yeah.
And they finally play a good team, and they get just waxed.
So I have to disagree because, and it's not because the wins. Like the wins are a good point. I think yes, they got destroyed, but that they had a legit shot in that game. They had a drive. I mean, they threw an interception, but. Or was it a fumble? One or the other. But they kind of showed that in the second half, they were dominant in it, and they kind of showed like they can compete. I don't want to say like they're going to be a good like one of like the better teams, but I think they're still going to be a good, competent team, and I think they showed that because they were getting beat. Yeah, and they came back. I think they came back, and then their offense looked. Like it was a great game if for like a casual person to watch because it was how high scoring it was.
Yep.
So that's why I just think their offense is good and they can compete with anyone. It's just their defense that I think is the question mark. And I know yes they haven't played anyone good, minus the Lions that they lost. But I think that they showed in that game like they can compete with these teams, and they're not just a team who got a lucky draw with the schedule. I feel like they'll be able to compete, and we'll see that because they'll play the Niners 2 times this year.
Yeah.
So.
No, I just think that the Lions are that good. I mean, they're still my pick to win the NFC North for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the Lions, they're really good, the Vikings will tail off at some point. I think the Lions definitely have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
The defense and the offense are both there. Goff, 18 for 18 in this game.
Yeah, that was. He would have broken the NFL, or I don't know if it was a record, but he would have been one of the few. I don't know if he would have been the first, but if he had 20 pass attempts, he would have gone down in the record book. I don't know if he would have been the first or one like a few, but still. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, and then the highlight of the week, or probably the game and the week, was the Amon-Ra passing touchdown.
Yeah.
Rolling out, doing the Philly special. That was pretty awesome to see Goff catch that.
I also think, I thought you were going to say for another highlight was, did you see that Montgomery, truck on Witherspoon?
Oh, yeah, and he kept going. That was absurd.
He sent that dude to the... and then the dude got up and was, running it like it was lost.
Yeah. I know.
And it sucks being a Bears fan, knowing, Swift is good, but we let that go. And then the fact that Brady also said it on Sunday that the Bears were in his consideration.
I know. That was crazy that he just pulled that out.
Yeah, it was the most random thing too. Like, if I pulled up on my Instagram feed or Twitter, I got a notification from ESPN, the ESPN app, that Brady signed with the Bears, I would lose what?
He probably wouldn't be very good just because of the Bears.
I know, but they had a relatively decent team, but they would
somehow ruin the greatest player of all time. That's what the Bears would do.
But they also had Matt Nagy, so they would have ruined because Nagy's an idiot.
Yeah.
But do you kind of want to talk about the NBA now? I feel like we touched all of our points in the football.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do NBA.
So I feel like first.
Dikembe Mutombo?
Yeah, he passed away.
Yep.
That stinks. I just wanted to talk about that. That's just kind of how that stinks.
He's an interesting historical fact because he...
just how important he was. He was kind of that first person...
you don't see many stories where people don't like Dikembe Mutombo. He's iconic because of his voice and his celebration and what he did. He was always the one that was there that... If you talk to him, you could ask him all these legends that he blocked. If you think about how long he played for, how important he was to the game.
And I think he's not only important to the game, but important to his home country.
Yeah.
And how much stuff he did for his country and all the stuff that he built there. And he built a hospital because his mother didn't have one.
Yeah.
And she died because of it. So he was such a good, not only basketball player, but obviously basketball is a game. His effect outside of the basketball world was just insane. So
he was another good thing about him was he was kind of the first one to do the dunk contest reactions.
Yeah,
you can look up the videos of him when he was
that stuff. And now that's that's a thing now. People do that now.
People try and take away or copy that.
Yeah.
But he was always genuine, and he was definitely a guy that other legends were like, "Oh, this guy's great."
Exactly, because he was never a legend or a guy who I feel like a lot of people in the stars in the NBA now, or in all sports really, think that they're better than if you're a better player, then you're better than that person. Which is, I feel like...
Dikembe is definitely like a top 125 player of all time. I don't think that's even a debate.
No, that's not a debate at all.
I think he was top 100, was he?
I feel like he might have been. Or top 170, you know what I mean? Like the 75 team? Is that what you're thinking about?
Yeah. Yeah, he was not on the 75 team, I don't think. But he's definitely top 100 all time.
Yeah, I agree. We can talk about now the Knicks that trade for Cat. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can start with that. Definitely a random one. I was playing flag football in Champaign, and all of a sudden I get back in the car after we're done, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's this notification that says like potential deal. It's been reported Cat to the Timberwolves.
Yeah, now it's not official,
to the Knicks,
but it's
it is today. It was finalized today.
Okay,
yep.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so it was just a rumor basically, but out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it was like usually we get reporting off of that. It was definitely a shake-up deal. I think for me it was too soon for the Timberwolves. Went to the conference finals last year. Why would you not try and run it back?
Exactly.
Added Rod Dillingham in the offseason, and I think that they were primed to run it back. But I could also see it from their standpoint. They owe him a lot of money, and they get a lot back. I mean, Julius Randle, he's a good player.
And DiVincenzo, I don't know how he's going to transfer over though. So what I saw, one of the things is that he didn't want he would have had a lesser role, a lowered role with the Knicks, and he didn't want that. So I think that's one of the reasons.
The big reason was they had the Nova Knicks now.
Exactly.
Plus OG Anunoby.
Yeah.
They didn't have a center. And now Julius Randle probably wouldn't finish games for them because they have Anunoby play the center with all the Villanova guys out there.
Yeah.
And he was playing for a contract, and he didn't know what type of role he would have, and he's definitely the type of guy that would let you know, like, hey, I want the ball more.
Exactly. And so I was watching First Take today, and they were talking about this. And, like, on paper, Iman Shumpert was on, and he said that on paper this team really excites him, but in the tight games, the playoff games, he doesn't know how they're going to work because...
You mean the Knicks?
Yeah, because he's like, I don't know if a pick and roll will work. Like, there's some guys where they can ISO, and you just gotta all you can do is watch. You can't defend, like a Curry ISO 3, step back, whatever Curry, a crazy fading 3 that he'll make, like in the Olympics. Like there's people like that where you can't guard. You can attempt, but you just kind of have to hope and pray it doesn't go in. He was kind of saying that's what he feels like the Knicks don't have, because he feels like they're going to be run pick and rolls in those situations, which I get. I mean, that's why ideally you bring him in. He's a big dude. You have Mitchell Robinson, who's a great interior defender. Now you have
he's
Cat.
Gonna be hurt like half the year. So
exactly.
Now they have Cat. Yeah.
And then they lost Hartenstein, which by the way, overpaid. $30 million for him was insane. I
don't agree with that whatsoever. Hartenstein was an awesome pickup for the Thunder, and they got him at a pretty good price for what they're going to bring him.
$30 million is just so
$30 million
much.
in the NBA isn't as much as it used to be.
I know.
$30 million in the NFL would be an insane amount, but the Thunder had a lot of salary cap and a lot of money they could play with, so they were like, "Oh, we need a backup center," and so they got their backup center.
Yeah, and he can be a starter if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Just he was just like he was so great. You don't want to run into the rim now, because think about that. They could put Holmgren. They could have a lineup where they have Holmgren and him in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's basically canceling out. You can't drop. I mean, you can, but you got to earn that bucket. Because Hartenstein is the good. I feel like with Holmgren, because Hartenstein's, yes, he's tall, but he's not skinny. Like, he's got muscle. He's a big dude.
That's why they brought him in. Yeah.
And Holmgren's a skinnier guy. So I feel like that's what Hartenstein does good. Like, I mean, that's what he's made his name off of defense. He's a defender and a rebounder.
Hartenstein, one of his most underrated things is definitely his passing. If you watch any from the footage of that Knicks stuff, he was essential to their offense. You get him on the post, he can make plays, not like to the level of Jokic, but he definitely did similar stuff like that.
But who can, though? Jokic is his own world.
So he can do a lot of the offensive stuff. Obviously, Chet's a great offensive player, can put the ball on the floor and do stuff on his own as a 7-footer. It's like, I mean, we see it more today, but it's still pretty rare.
Okay.
And Chet will be the guy who can just like free roam like a free safety and just like go around and block the shots, and Hartenstein will guard like the big guard. So last year during the playoffs, Valanciunas was just destroying. Jonas Valanciunas in 2024 was destroying the Thunder, who are the 1 seed.
Exactly, because he was just so big, they had no one to guard him.
Putting Chet in the basket, and that's why Hartenstein, they brought him in.
Yeah, because he's a guy who can.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it was a bad signing. I just think that they kind of overpaid.
They did that so they would get him.
True.
If you think about it like that, they saw what they needed, and they're like, we're going to give him more money than anybody else, so it's guaranteed that he'll go here.
Yeah, true.
And so it was a I think a great signing. I think that was the signing of the year. I think the OKC had definitely the best offseason. I don't think it was even close.
Yeah, I mean, because they were the best team all season, and then playoffs came, but they were young, and they added a sort of hard work, gritty. I don't want to, but like and then they got Caruso too, who's
he's the gritty.
He's that hard worker that does like the hard. Physical stuff that not many people talk about.
Yeah. I do think that they're the best team in the league this year. I feel like
I agree.
They should
totally
be the favorite to win
that.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're still so young, and
you don't know how that. We saw it in the playoffs. You don't know how that'll translate.
There's a version of that series that went to 7 games. That in that series for the Mavericks to beat the Thunder, P.J. Washington and Derrick Jones had to turn into the 2 best role players in the entire league. P.J. Washington was shooting over 50%
Yeah,
from
P.J.
3.
Washington was...
He turned into prime Scottie Pippen for 1 series, and that's how they and the Thunder still took them to 7 games.
Exactly.
SGA is easily the best guard in the league.
Yeah, he is.
Outside of Luka, but Luka, I don't know. Luka's a weird guard because he's like 6'8".
Forward, yeah.
But for me, SGA is definitely, he gets his guys involved. He doesn't, and he's not like this guy who's going to complain about his touches. He's got all the guys around him. They're all so young. It's like a college team that with NBA level talent that's going to come in and just run through the league. And I think this year they're best suited to win the championship. It'll be interesting when they run into somebody big, like if the Nuggets get there or like the Suns.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say Clippers, but I don't know.
The Clippers are gone. They're not even going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they lost George. Harden. But I feel like they need another guy.
Essentially, Kawhi's knee is all rebuilt. It's none of this stuff in his knee is not his anymore.
Exactly. That's Lonzo Ball said he has. I know we're talking about knees. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Lonzo.
They have a new knee.
Yeah, that's essentially what happened to Kawhi, and he. I don't think he's. I don't want to say things like that, but I feel like Kawhi, it's near the end of the rope for him. I don't know what else he's playing for at this point because he's done everything a career can do.
Yeah, won multiple finals MVPs, won multiple finals.
Yeah.
All defense, and I feel like he's just starting to. I don't want to say he's not caring, but he's just kind of.
Yeah, no, I still think he cares. I think he's.
I think he's. Stephen A. Smith said this, which I think is a good point. Whenever he talks about Kawhi Leonard, he says he's the worst superstar because he doesn't. Now, I think the way he says it is a bad way because it's painting him like he's bad at a super. He's not. He says he's bad because he doesn't play.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great point, but I wouldn't say he's the worst superstar. I just would say he's not available. He's just not. He's not healthy. He's always hurt. But I wouldn't call him the worst superstar because you're painting him as a bad player, which he's not.
No, I don't think anyone thinks he's a bad player, but I just think that this Paul George. The Kawhi Leonard era for the Clippers is coming to an end.
I agree.
Harden's already talking about how he's gonna have the ball a lot more now. He's gonna be more.
So maybe we'll see a little bit of. I don't want to say. I don't think we're ever gonna see Houston Harden again.
He's gonna try and recreate that, but I just don't think he can. He has the same athleticism. He doesn't have the same athleticism he does anymore. Too many injuries for Harden. Too much weight.
But we're on the West right now, so we can talk about the Pelicans. I want to go first for this one. Right. They added DeJounte Murray.
Yep.
He averaged 22-5-5 with the Hawks last year, and I feel like since he got, and I know he's only on the Hawks for 2 seasons, but I feel like he just got better and better, and people thought him and Trae Young would have been this dynamic duo. It just didn't work. They just weren't good together. But he joins it. People don't. I feel like they're a team, like a sneaky team. I feel like not many people. They have they got 3 big guys. They got Ingram, who is one of the most underrated players in the league. I feel like nobody talks about him, and he casually drops or averages 22, 23 a game. And then Zion. But the big question with Zion is health. Can he play? And can't, because we see when he plays, there's a reason why he was the number 1 pick. He shows that, but can he play? And then they also have a great guy coming off the bench in McCollum, Alvarado. They have just a good team, and Valanciunas, like you said earlier. So I think they have a great team, but it's all health, and this I feel like it's I don't want to say last straw for Murray, but this will kind of show, can he play with other stars?
Yeah.
Because he has a team now where he has not just Trae Young. He's got Zion, Ingram. They got guys there that are ball-dominant guys that need the ball. So I want to see how that kind of happens.
Yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if he can play. You bring up playing with other stars. So none of those other stars are his position. So it won't get in the way. But the need the ball thing, there's only one ball in the court, and
that's
all of those guys need the ball.
Exactly.
Especially Zion. Zion off the ball doesn't do much outside of like run and catch lobs.
Yeah.
And I think Ingram's even worse.
I agree.
I think Ingram off the ball is just a non-factor. He clearly needs the ball. We saw that with the Olympic team. What year was that? Oh, the FIBA World Cup last summer. He kind of just went away from the team when he realized he wasn't going to be like this number one option.
Exactly.
And we'll see if that happens this year with the Pelicans.
And
I think Zion's definitely here. I think this is his season. I'm a big believer in Zion. I think he has all the talent in the world.
I totally agree. But it's just I feel like this is like a thing with everyone who's a Zion person. Like we say every year, I feel like we've been saying this, and he just gets hurt. Or
I think the problem for me with him is when he got hurt, he never seemed motivated to come back.
And people all do. With him, it's all the fat jokes, but like that's a serious issue because this is you're literally.
He lost a lot of weight though.
So, but the whole idea of the sport is you're running. You got to be. I'm not saying you got to be slim. But you need to be in good enough shape to where you can run and stay fit that whole time. And people just felt like early on, he just kind of didn't care. But I feel like now, since that's kind of opened his eyes a little bit, and he's kind of realized like, okay, I gotta play now. I gotta show why I was the number one pick. And we saw that last year. He got hurt a little bit though, right?
No, I mean last year he played his most games. He played like 67 games, something like that.
Yeah.
It was high 60s, and he was great during the play-in or the in-season tournament last year. He was getting dogged he looked fat in that against the Lakers game, and he came back and he looked great after the in-season tournaments, and he averaged like 30 for a while.
Yeah, last year he played 70 games.
70, there we go.
And 31, almost 32 minutes a game. So that's his second highest career minutes per game. And he was shooting.
I mean, if you look at the games, that's not even close.
Exactly. Like the year before played 29, then 60. Then he didn't play in the 2022 season, and then the year before that 61, then 24 in his rookie. So and just his points per game, like in 2023 was 26. 26, and then last year was 22.8 or 22.9. But
when you play more games, your stats are going to go
down.
Exactly. Yeah.
So. And I feel like this is a year. I feel like he should, in theory, have that sort of jump to be a. I mean, I feel like he kind of already is a star, but to
100%.
become a superstar. I feel like one of the faces of the league.
He can lead this Pelicans team to a high seed in the because he's definitely going to be the first option. The thing I want to touch on DeJounte. You did a good bit on DeJounte there, but. The thing about DeJounte was when he was on the Spurs in the start of his career, he made his name through his defense. He was the youngest guard ever to be on a first-team all-defensive team.
Yep.
And on the Hawks, we kind of saw that go away now. That could be motivation-driven. Or, I don't know, when you're a young player and you're trying to, fight your way into the league, you got to, just really fight. And that's a lot of defense's effort. His arms are so long. He's so tall.
He's got a perfect guard defending build.
So maybe now... on this Pelicans team, he can buy in a little bit to defensively, and I feel like they're going to struggle a little bit. Actually, no, what am I saying? They have Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, who are two lockdown perimeter guys.
Exactly. They have a very good defensive squad.
If DeJounte can kind of get in the gym with them and be like, I need to bring this defensive side of me back, especially since he's not going to get the offensive chances he did in Atlanta, even with Trae Young. He's going to have to share the ball with CJ, Zion, and Brandon Ingram. So hopefully he buys in defensively. And I think this team is going to be pretty good. I think they'll probably be like a 4 or 5 seed in the West because the West is so loaded.
Oh God, yeah. Like they'll be if they were in. I feel like if they were in the East, they would be a number 1 or number 2.
Oh, I don't. There's still the Celtics.
Yeah.
No, but
don't know what I was talking about. Sorry, I'm looking up Murray just because I feel like he's kind of going to go back to his, like, early on his career where he was, like, I feel like a good number for him is he'll be averaging, like, 15, and maybe not, like, how
he'll average more than 15, I feel like, especially since the other part of the piece of this Pelicans thing is I think Brandon Ingram's going to get traded halfway through the season or before the season starts. The problem is just I think it's going to be at the trade deadline because when teams get desperate, you can get the most. I think they shopped him
in the
all
summer.
Season, yeah, I think they were like putting him on a platter, like, guys, here's this, and I don't know, not many teams, nobody took the bait, you know.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't know if you agreed, but I feel like he is an underrated player. You know, yes, he's only really an offensive player, but I still feel like he doesn't get as much love. Like he's only, I wrote it down. I want to say 4-time
Ingram.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Ingram for me is a tough subject. Talk about a guy who doesn't play. We talk about how Zion doesn't play all the time. Ingram plays just the same amount as Zion. Like they're always out, and it always seems when they're back in, one of them is out, and then like one comes in, one comes out.
Yeah. I think the issue with Ingram is he's a twig. Like he's got to put some muscle on or something. I feel like every year he just comes back and he's just skinnier and the same. You know what I mean?
I think that's kind of a genetic thing. I really don't think that he has the ability to put on any weight, which is like we see that all the time. I mean,
Kevin Durant has made a career off of that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Just the thing with Ingram is just, I don't know. He's just got to buy in defensively and off the ball. I mean, he obviously is spectacular on the ball. You watch Brandon Ingram highlights, oh my gosh. If you woke up from a coma and watched Brandon Ingram highlights, didn't know anything about the NBA, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this guy's like a top 10 player in the league with the type of shots that he can hit, especially in the mid-range. Mm-hmm. It's very KD-esque. I know he was getting compared to KD.
I was going to say. That's who he was getting comparisons in when he came out of Duke.
I just think that Ingram needs to buy in with the team type of play. He needs to share the wealth a little bit. But
the we over
defensively.
me, the we over me idea, I feel like should be something hammered home this offseason with the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Because you guys, you have the we, you have the we of that. You have the team that.
Well, they have the me.
They
need the we.
But like I'm saying, they have the guys to make the we. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they also have the guys to.
They have the talent.
They have the talent. They have the guys.
They need the buy-in.
They need the buy-in. Yes.
Yeah.
And we can kind of talk about the Sixers now.
Talk about buy-in. Joel Embiid needs to buy in.
I just saw, I'm on Basketball Reference right now, and I just saw a highlight of Embiid shooting a 3. Yeah, but you got Embiid who averaged 35 with one leg.
Yeah.
They look like they should be good, but I feel like that's the story with them every year. They always look like they're going to be good, and then the playoffs come around, and
it's all about Embiid. The playoffs. I mean,
Maxey showed he's.
Oh, I love Maxey.
Maxey's
one of my favorite players.
He's so entertaining to watch.
He's my dad's favorite player, which is so random because I don't know. Embiid said he dropped 25 to 30 pounds this offseason. Well, don't know if that's a lot. That's a lot of weight to do in like one summer. So it's probably around like 15, but he's probably like just gonna say that to the media. He says in this media day interview that his priority is not All-Star. It's not MVP anymore. It's all about getting healthy for the playoffs. And we'll see if that's true. It just kind of took him a while to care about that.
Exactly.
Seemingly.
Like that's you get your MVPs and stuff, and then you realize, okay, now I want to win.
Yeah.
Your whole idea, like the reason why it's the greats like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, everyone like that. The reason why those guys are there is because yes, they get all these personal accolades, but they don't care about that. They care about winning. They want to win first. You get the accolades come with winning.
Yeah.
So, like Embiid, yes, he's won MVPs and stuff, but he hasn't won. He hasn't done anything. Like the highlight of his playoff career is the meme of him crying after the Raptors.
Yeah, there's been some weird situations for him. I think their best chance was the 2019 year when they lost to the Raptors. That was they lost to. When Kawhi Leonard was the best player in the world at that time.
I remember where I was sitting when that shot was insane.
Yeah, I remember that was absurd. Like one of the greatest shots of all time. And Embiid definitely didn't play up to his level in that game. And Butler was kind of like a weird chemistry thing there. And obviously we all know about Ben Simmons, who's oh my gosh, we can talk about his media day.
Did you see? Yeah, he's like people. don't realize I'm a good basketball player.
Yeah. like, what are you saying?
Last
dude?
time you were a good basketball
bro?
player, you passed up an open layup, and your career's been down ever since.
Yeah.
So a good basketball player would not pass up an open layup.
Yeah, it's.
And I felt like last year, even though he was, I still kept track of him, even though he was on the Nets. He felt like he was trying to do everything.
Well, he didn't play.
I know, but in a few games,
he got hurt, and it seems like he doesn't want to play basketball anymore.
Yeah, he's just there for the millions of dollars he's making.
Yeah. Did you see the post by ESPN where it was like amount of money made per game, and Ben Simmons is number one over all of these legends because of how much money he's made for the amount of games that he's played. It was it was some absurd number. But Ben Simmons, I don't know. This happens every year. I really am not a fan anymore. I used to really like him back in the day because of 2K. He was so fun to use in 2K because he was so big. I'm not a fan anymore. And if he comes back and is semi-decent for the Nets, then okay, good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
But you've just done too much stuff for you to hurt your reputation.
Yeah, you've done too much talking rather than play. I don't like when people use the shut up and play, but you need to shut up and play. You need to prove that you can play basketball. Not you can't just say that. You also can't say that after when you've been on the Nets for what, 2? Is it this year 3 now?
3, yeah.
And you haven't played.
Yeah.
I
know.
The guys that they traded for you is already on another team playing.
Yeah.
So it's just you can't talk because you have nothing to back it up with.
Yeah. We can go back to Embiid if you want because I kind of derailed us there, but
yes, no.
I think Embiid. I don't know. I think this is one of the better teams that he's had. Paul George obviously brought in with the offseason. On paper, this team looks great.
Yeah.
They picked up Caleb Martin from the Heat, who's
an underrated,
unbelievable. Yeah, really good. He's going to start for them. Hopefully Maxey can continue where he is. I think he will. I think he's great. I think he's got the mindset and everything down. It's insane that him and Embiid have kind of worked together because Maxey's
a ball dominant.
I feel like not even that. He's the guy who cares about winning, right?
Yeah.
He's so competitive, but he's so happy at the same time. And Embiid,
I feel like every picture you see of him,
he's smiling the whole time. Yeah.
He's smiling.
Yeah.
Embiid's a whiny baby. I feel like that's just what he is. He all he does is whine and complain.
Yeah, Maxey might be the most popular athlete in Philly outside of Bryce Harper.
That's a great take. Honestly.
Yeah, because when Embiid doesn't do what he's supposed to do, they hate him. But when he's wins MVP, they love him.
Exactly. But Maxey, the thing with Maxey is he's
so likable.
And he plays his heart out every single game.
Yeah.
It's
he's so fun to watch. He's going 1,000 miles an hour the whole time. And he's just so fast.
Exactly. I wanted to, because we're talking about Embiid and how he doesn't play. What did you think of when they added the number, the games played rule? What did you think of that?
I think that was good. I think
totally agree.
It was targeted towards
Embiid.
Embiid and Kawhi and Paul George and all those guys who were sitting out games. There are some negatives to it. Obviously, we saw last year with Halliburton. He wanted that extension for getting out All-NBA, so he played through a hamstring injury, and he was not very good. And I feel like he was hurt for most of the year. We saw him kind of come back to life during the playoffs when his injury started to go away. But I do think it's good because it forces guys, if they care about their accolades, to not sit out games.
And I felt like the thing is, I know I don't like relating it saying it back in the day, but all those guys would play through injuries. Now,
I don't think playing through injuries is a good thing.
No,
the problem was
a little minor a bruise or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The problem is teams would sit their guys on purpose. That's what they were trying to get rid of, the load management thing.
Because I don't know if someone on ESPN used this analogy, but if I'm a kid, I remember one of the first games, the Bulls games I went to, it was when Trae Young was started to gain popularity.
Yeah.
We're excited. We're going to the game we're going to see Trae Young. That's exciting, because when he was a rookie, he still is exciting to watch. But he's one of those guys he got a lot of Curry comparisons. So, and we're driving to the game and he wasn't playing. So if you're going to an NBA game,
he could also actually been hurt though.
Yeah,
it was the ones where they would say the reason that they're sitting out is load management.
Exactly.
And I feel like you were right with the smaller injuries. This kind of takes it away. People sitting out on purpose.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know. I think it is good for the league. 65 games is really good.
Exactly, and I feel like 65 is not the season's 82 games long. You can still miss games if you really want to.
I agree. I do think that's good.
And we can kind of talk. I want to talk about the Bulls, Bucks, and kind of the Kings. I know the Kings is random, but they're kind of attached to the Bulls with the DeRozan signing trade.
Yeah, DeRozan was one of the biggest trades in the offseason.
What do you think about that?
You want to say the Kings offseason?
Yeah.
Yeah. People say that this kind of doesn't do anything for them.
I totally disagree.
Okay. I was just saying that I don't believe that.
No, I know.
People have been saying that, this. Why would they do this deal? It doesn't raise them to the level of the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, all those people. I totally am in favor of this trade because if you make a trade and it raises the talent that you had before, I feel like it's a good trade no matter what it is.
Exactly.
And they're kind of going all in on this offensive thing. I feel like they're going to score 150 points a game.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a bonus Fox and now DeRozan. Hopefully DeRozan can start stepping out and shooting some threes. But I don't know. I think this is a really good deal for them because I don't know what's the point of not trading for DeRozan, honestly.
Exactly. I felt like everyone brings up the story when he signed with the Bulls, the worst offseason signing. Yeah. I feel like people are not saying it's the worst offseason, but they're not talking about it. I feel like he's such an underrated player, and I'm a Bulls fan, so I witnessed how good he was.
Yeah, whenever he would play the Bucks, he would just light us up every single time.
They call him the king of the fourth for the reason, because he's a good veteran clutch player who knows what to do in those situations. And the Kings, yes, they're good, but they're young. Yes, they're not all rookie young, but they're still young. They're relatively new to being this crazy good competitive team. And I feel like DeRozan's going to be good. I feel like he's going to be good for. DeRozan's also one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA.
I don't know about that. Maybe at one point, but not anymore.
I feel like he's still a good defender.
He's a good defender, not one of the best in the league.
But I think it's a great move, and they also, Chris Duarte is not anything special, but I feel like that's if you're on the Kings side. I know I'm on the Bulls side, but you gave up that, and I don't even remember what else, but you didn't give up crazy much for him, and I feel like you gave up a young dude who has hope but nothing proven, and you gave him up for a proven dude. And that's a win-now move. You're giving up your younger guys to kind of build right now.
It was a free agent signing.
Oh, yeah, free agent sign and trade.
Sign and trade with Harrison Barnes, 2031 swap to the Spurs, and Chris Duarte.
Exactly.
2 second-round picks.
So, you basically traded Harrison Barnes for DeRozan, which is
well, the Bulls want to get out of that money, and they're like, oh, we're going younger, so we'll just, let him go.
So, what do you think about the Bucks? Do you think they can bounce back from Heat?
It seems like Chris Middleton's not going to be healthy.
Yeah.
For the start of the year, which is sad news. And supposedly, according to Giannis, he said that in an interview today that he played in the Olympics, right? And he also got married this summer. So he said him and Dame haven't had a chance to meet up. So today was their first time meeting up since their last game, or their last training camp. And I don't know. We're old. We definitely got deeper. And I don't know. I could see this season going two different ways. I feel like Dame could come back to where he was when he was in Portland. We just start ripping off wins. Giannis is an absolute just freak, and we start winning without Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton comes back, and we're great.
Yeah.
Or the loss of Chris Middleton is going to be too terrible for our defense. Our defense is just not where it used to be.
No,
back when we were the favorites every single year.
Yeah.
Our defense was the thing that we could hang our hat on, and right now we're just going full ballistic offense.
I feel like that's just the way the league is moving too.
No, yes, true, but it's a tough spot for the Bucks to be in because they did the Dame deal, hoping that to solve the offensive struggles.
Exactly.
We saw a decline in Brook Lopez with his defense.
Yeah.
And we realized that Brook Lopez isn't that good, or isn't that stellar defender that we saw when Damian Lillard is in front of him and not the best perimeter point guard in the entire league in Drew Holiday.
Exactly. I feel like just Drew, I don't know. I know you had to kind of get rid of him.
We didn't have to. We chose to because I think there were rumors. I feel like the tea leaves were saying that Giannis might leave soon if we don't do anything to help him try and win again. I really hope him and Dame can start to kind of create this chemistry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I just wish that we had heard some better news about Middleton's injury and that Giannis and Dame were starting to like build that chemistry up.
Yeah.
Kind of the chemistry kind of starts off the court.
Exactly.
I feel like if it would have been cool, like a story came out like, oh yeah, me and Dame like took this trip together and we were hanging out together like for part of the summer. Like that would have been cool.
Yeah,
I don't think Dame was even at Giannis's wedding, which is, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, they don't really know each other like that, but it's just like
what you were saying about like how you hear stuff. One of the things, I know Diggs isn't on the Bills anymore, but one of the first things that I heard from when Diggs and Allen started to get traded, when Diggs got traded, is they were playing Call of Duty all the time together. Like, I know it's stupid, but you're building that teamwork. You're building your
relationship.
Yeah, you're building it, and I feel like we saw moments, like some flashes, but you didn't see consistency.
Yeah,
and
I hope
you want to see consistency.
Last year, there's like a spin on it, the positive spin on it. Was like, last year's the year from hell.
Yeah.
Coach fired. Dame didn't work out during the summer. Didn't have a training camp. Middleton hurt, and now we're spinning it this year. We have a better coach.
Do you like Rivers?
Regular season wise, yeah. I think that it'll be interesting when we get to the playoffs. I don't really care. Can we just get to the playoffs healthy? Then we'll figure it out.
Exactly.
So I think Rivers can put them in the best position offensive or in the regular season.
Yeah.
Dame and Giannis now have a training camp together. He can start to like kind of just like figure it out. Even though Darvin Ham was a failure on the Lakers, he's back on the coaching staff where he started. And
he's an assistant, right?
Yep. Yeah. He was an assistant for Bud when we won the championship, so he's back. We got some really good underrated free agents: Taurean Prince, DeLon Wright, and what's his name? This is embarrassing. I should know this stuff.
The DeLon Wright one is a good one, though. I feel like he's a very underrated player.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I always have liked Giannis because he's like, you know how you said you liked Ben Simmons and 2K?
Gary Trent Jr. Sorry.
Who?
Gary Trent Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Trent
Jr. is
He's a shooter and he can play defense, which is what we need.
I always liked Giannis because he was so much fun to play in 2K.
Oh, yeah.
Just because he still is. He's just fast. You can just run by people, and he's long and lengthy paws. But we can kind of talk about my team, the Bulls. They're going to be not garbage. They're going to be bad.
They're going to be garbage.
They're going to be garbage. I do like so I'm a big Lonzo Ball fan. I'm happy to hear that he's what I've heard is, but I felt like we heard this last year, is he felt amazing and then nothing happened. So it's still, it's like you're saying a bunch of stuff, but nothing's happening, so I can't.
Yeah, a player can feel amazing and not be able to play, and a player can feel amazing and have like be medically cleared to play.
Exactly, but until you play and prove something, like when the Bulls were healthy with DeRozan and everyone, the reason why they were good, and I say this all the time, is Lonzo Ball. You saw when Lonzo got hurt that they started to decline, because Lonzo's that great point guard and facilitator that brings teams together. And I feel like that's such an underrated part, and people just view him, I don't want to say they view him as a bust, but I feel like people have viewed him because of his dad and all the expectations that came into the league with him, that he was going to be so much better than he was, or than he has been. But that Lonzo's not a scorer. He's a facilitator. He's that point guard that brings people together, brings the team together. Yeah. And I feel like he was perfect for that Bulls team. And then he got hurt, and then the rest is history. You know, they lost to the Bucks. They got their butt handed to them. So maybe he does because the Bulls are not going to probably use him. Like I think he'll be another trade deadline candidate if he's healthy and plays well. Because in reality, what do the Bulls need him for? If they're not going to be a playoff team, or if they do, they'll be a dumb play-in team.
They're not going to be a playoff team.
Exactly.
Nor are they going to be playing. I just don't think they're. It was interesting to see on Media Day all the videos that came out of like all the young players were dancing, like they're all friends with each other, and then you see the pictures of Levine and Vucevic, just kind of like the old vets, like they know they're not going to be good, so like they're kind of unhappy, and it'll be interesting to see if either of those guys get traded this season, because I feel like they're definitely going into this young rebuild and they're trying to go for Cooper Fleck.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like their ceiling, if they play as good as they can, is a play-in team. So I'm saying, like, what's the point of them keeping Lonzo? I mean, they're not going to be able.
They're going to keep Lonzo. I mean, I don't think he has any trade value because at any point he could be like out of the league.
True. But then, like, you can't trade Levine because of his contract.
Yeah, his contract's way too big.
Vucevic maybe, but even then his contract
I feel like Vucevic will get traded near the deadline because I mean, teams need centers, and Vucevic is decent, or he's good offensively.
Yeah, I mean, when I was watching their series against like the Bucks, it was like whenever they play the Bucks, Giannis is gonna go off because Vucevic cannot play defense against. I mean, I know it's Giannis, but still, like even some
Nobody
guys
can guard Giannis.
Someone, at least people can like not guard him, but they can like lower his dominance. He just runs like they just can't stop him. So
yeah, the best outlook for the Bulls, if you're a Bulls fan,
is getting Cooper Flag. I feel like.
Well, yeah, that also, but Giddey turns into a star.
Yeah,
somebody who
I really like
numbers.
I like that Giddey trade. I felt like that was a very good trade, a very fair. I feel like both teams got better.
Yeah. Well, the Bulls got, I don't know, worse, but also like in a better spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they both got what they needed. The Bulls want a younger team. They got a younger guy. The Thunder are going all in to win. So I really liked it.
Yeah, and the other thing, you got Buzelis, and Buzelis is probably going to be really good.
He looked really good in summer league.
Yeah, and he was like projected number 1 for the longest time, and then he didn't have that good of a season on G League Ignite, but he also was playing better competition than other guys.
So you never know. Maybe because he's played professional guys, that experience will help him. So I'm excited. Not really to see the Bulls play because I know they're not going to be good, but just to see, it's like the young guys. You're seeing these young, like I feel like I know we both don't really watch hockey, but when the Blackhawks got Bedard, it was just people knew they were going to be awful, but they were excited because Bedard.
Similar to when the Bears got Caleb Williams.
Exactly, or when the Bears or the Bulls got D Rose, or just when it's that or like LeBron, like when it's that one talent. I'm not saying Buzelis is that one talent, but he's that kind of younger guy that kind of brings excitement back to the team.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fun to see where you guys are like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
And we're thinking about like, remember when they traded Caruso and everyone for Giddey? I thought it was a bad trade, but now Giddey's really good. I really hope Giddey can move past some of the off-court stuff.
Me too.
I see it on social media all the time. It's just, I'm not going to say it's unfair. It was definitely warranted for a while, but they just got to give that guy a break. And
because
I feel like the only thing that can take that away is good basketball.
And he played well in the Olympics. Like, he had good games.
Yeah.
So as a Bulls fan watching that gave me some excitement and hope. But I hope that every young player that they have has his good steps, because all the Chicago sports teams that I watch, it's all we hope.
Tough stuff.
It stinks. So like the Sox, I know it's terrible, but you watched it because you wanted to see these young guys kind of do good.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel like, what it's going to be like with the Bulls. Yeah. That you're not watching for the record. You're watching to see these young guys develop because you want to have that good team in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I definitely think the Bulls are better than having the worst record ever.
God, yes. But, I mean, I hope.
Yeah.
But do you got anything more?
I really don't think. I don't.
Yeah, that's everything for this one. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.